regardez TV Rogers, Bathurst.
The following program is brought to you by Rogers Anyplace TV. Enjoy exclusive content for free. Visit RogersAnyplaceTV.com.
Everybody, and welcome, bienvenue. This is a theater where we're going to go back in history. Ça, c'est une histoire, et le contexte est Nouveau-Brunswick, il y a presque 100 ans. Yes, it's August the 6th, 1925. Nous sommes aujourd'hui le 6 août 1925. It's 6,000 years after the Mi'kmaq have arrived in Atlantic Canada. C'est 6,000 ans après l'arrivée des Mi'kmaq sur la côte atlantique du Canada. It's also 321 years after the first Acadian settlement. C'est 321 ans après l'arrivée des premiers Acadiens. It's 170 years after Le Grand Dérangement. It's 170 years after the Grand Dispersal. It's 127 years after the 1798 Irish Rebellion. C'est 127 ans après la Révolution irlandaise de 1788. History is important. There's a few dates here. This will help with the play and fitting it into perhaps when your grandparents were active in New Brunswick in the 1920s. Or maybe if you're as old as I, your parents were active, young and active in New Brunswick. So August 6th, 1925, it's exactly 110 years after the start of a massive Irish immigration to New Brunswick that began. C'est 110 ans après le début d'une importante immigration des Irlandais au Nouveau-Brunswick. It's 9 years after the 1916 Easter Rising in Dublin. C'est 9 ans après du soulèvement du Pâques de 1916. It's 4 years after, only 4 years after the establishment of the Irish Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. C'est 4 ans après l'établissement de la République irlandaise et l'Irlande du Nord. Okay, we're getting closer and closer to the date. It's 2 years after William Butler Yeats, Irish poet, wins the Nobel Peace Prize in Literature. C'est 2 ans après que William Butler Yeats devient le récipiendaire du prix Nobel en littérature. It's exactly 4 days before the defeat of the P.J. Vigneault provincial government. C'est 4 jours avant la défaite du gouvernement provincial de P.J. Vigneault. So put all those dates together and you've got somewhat a picture, a setting for the last Irish Wake. I'd like to introduce the cast. C'est Claudette Lajoie-Chesson. Okay? Et c'est pour Bill, c'est Jason Nicole, et Marie, c'est Adrienne Deveau. And c'est moi, c'est Kevin, and I'm going to play the role of Patrick. We're all neighbors. And poor Joe, it's his way. And we are here in the farmhouse of a farm in northern New Brunswick.
Joe, c'était un bonhomme. Un bon boss aussi. Il travaillait aussi fort que ses employés.
Oui, il savait parler français aussi un peu, mais pas beaucoup. Il comprenait un peu le français.
Oui, il parlait irlandais, le Gillick. Ah oui, et l'anglais.
3 langues, pas comme moi. Moi, je ne parle que le français.
Good evening, ladies.
Ah,
How are you doing this evening?
bonsoir. Good evening, Mr. Bill. Marie doesn't speak much English. She lost the bit she had when she moved to Kent County years ago. She says she's sorry that your brother had died. She knew him in her teens when she lived in St. Leo. They were actually boyfriend and girlfriend. Anyway, she offers her condolences, as I do. We're both sorry for your loss.
Oh, thank you. Thank both of you. Marie, thank you for coming all this way just to say goodbye to Joe. I really can't say I remember you, but it was a long time ago.
We're both impressed that Joe was a fluent Irish speaker. That's so rare these days.
Bill, est-ce que tu parles irlandais, toi aussi?
Mary's asking if you can speak Irish too.
No. I have to admit, I do know a few words, but, you know, Joe was the true Irish speaker in our family. He's the one that had the interest, well, and the patience to learn from Pa. Oh, and my older brother, Henry. You know, Pa learned it directly from his father, who came straight from Ireland in 1825. You know, that's exactly 100 years ago this year. Wow. You know, old Joe was a good listener. He wasn't afraid to speak. And he picked it right up here in this very parlor. Well, out in the fields, of course, in the farm while he was working. You know, he said speaking Irish made him feel Irish. Really Irish. I'm the youngest, so you know, it didn't interest me much. Well, to tell you the truth, I really don't know what I'm talking about right now. I'm just kind of rambling on. I'll just blame the Jamesons.
That's fine, Bill.
Oh, yeah, and I want to thank you again for coming. It's very nice of you.
Oui, Joe parlait 2 langues. Moi, j'en parle presque 2. Presque 2. Mais nous avions beaucoup de difficultés à communiquer, Joe et moi. Mon anglais, pas très bon. Mon anglais n'est pas très bon. Sa mère, la mère de Joe, his mother, elle désapprouvait notre relation.
Mary believes language differences was the reason that she and Joe...
Oh, well, that. It could have been religion, too.
They served to protect our homes. Now many are homeless. They fought for our way of life. Now many are fighting personal battles of their own. They answered the call for our country. Now we honor them by serving our communities. Help us help Canada's veterans. Become a Legion member today.
Viens, Abby. Viens, Zadie.
Téléphone.
Yeah, but you told me that. Okay. I wanted the day off. I knew they wouldn't leave me alone. But I couldn't let the guys down.
That night in 1944, Montreal beat Detroit 9-1. Maurice Rocket Richard scored 8 points, 5 goals, 3 assists. A legend was born.
Do you have something to share? Let everyone know about your next meeting, your need for volunteers, or your fundraising event on the Rogers TV Community Billboard. Send us your words and we'll bring them to life on Rogers TV and rogerstv.com. When it's time to spread the word, go to rogerstv.com to add your announcement to the Community Billboard.
I started playing softball when I was 4 years old. I loved it because it was all about having fun with my friends. And it still is.
From little kids to adults to seniors, softball is a sport for everyone. Join us.
And he can lift anything. Anything at all. He's that strong.
Joe Schuster, will you stop it or you'll miss your train? Now help me find number 5.
Strong, but by day he's a mild-mannered reporter. Glasses, a secret identity.
Honestly, you Canadian kids.
He'd be in this cape.
A what?
A cape. Wearing these blue tights.
A hero in tights, really. Here it is.
Listen, Lois, this guy is faster than anything, I swear.
If you're not fast, you're going to miss your train.
That's it. A bullet. A bullet. He's faster. No, he's faster than a speeding bullet.
Come on, get on it. No one's going to read a comic strip about a strong man in tights, Joe. It'll never fly.
Fly, no. But he can leap over tall buildings. Oh, wow, yeah.
See what your cousin Frank says in Toronto.
Wait, Lois. I've got something for you. Take it. It's a gift. You never know. It might be worth something someday. Is he great or what? Bye-bye, Lois.
Tout le monde aimait Joe. Tout le monde aimait Joe. Tout le monde trouvait qu'il était tellement gentil.
Everyone in Stanley liked Joe. That's what Maddie says.
Oh, that was nice. Joe seemed to like everyone just the same. No differences. Dad was like that too. I guess Joe dating Marie was kind of an example. In the old country there were 2 languages. There was Irish, of course. One was English. It was something my grandfather really knew, though. Well, he also knew that there were 2 religions there as well. And I guess we all know that.
It sounds a bit like here. Our province has 2 main languages, but there was once Highland Scottish Gaelic and Irish Gaelic to be heard coming from the settlers. Now, with Joe gone.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna miss him. You might not know this, but Joe was married a few years ago. She died. He loved Beth so much. He always regretted that he wasn't able to, tell her what he felt. Like the tender things, the special things, his feelings. He said if he could only ever tell her this in Irish, it would have made sense. He just couldn't seem to get the words out in English.
Je comprends bien la situation.
We understand that, Bill. There are things, sometimes personal, sometimes complicated, delicate things, that I can say more clearly and more detailed in French.
So, romantic things, you mean?
That's part of it. When we talk to our children, the nurse, close friends, my brothers and sisters, about growing up or praying to God, it's much better in our primary language.
Well, it's true. Language is really just a tool. It doesn't just let us talk. In the country, in County Cork in Ireland, Irish, it was useful, but not here. Well, I mean, look at Joe. He knew all the old stories. He knew about the first winters here, the tales of the old Irish ghosts, the different medicinal cures, the tough times they had in Ireland before they left. He got all this information from Pa. well, and Dad's pa. They talked about these things all the time. Yeah. Joe didn't feel the same thing. This could be really sad if they talked to them in English.
Now you're talking, Bill. That's it exactly. Stories are memories that we share with families can only be told the real way with delicate sensitivity in one's language. That is why Joe wished he could have spoken of how he loved his wife in Irish. His Joe-ness would have been better expressed in Irish. Irish seems to have been his primary language.
So it is. Absolutely true. Blanche, you're a romantic.
Je comprends ce que tu dis, Blanche. Ce n'est pas qu'une affaire, la langue, ce n'est pas qu'une affaire de romance. La langue transmet nos craintes et nos rêves d'avenir. Joe désirait peut-être exprimer ses craintes et ses aspirations à son épouse. Pas facile pour un homme. Il se serait peut-être exprimé plus facilement en irlandais.
Marie is following our conversation. She says that maybe he could have shared his fears and even his dreams better in Irish.
Oh, well, of course. But, I wouldn't know. It was always too much work on the farm and in the woodlot. And there was fishing in the spring, and I never took the time. I missed out on it. I didn't get the Irish. I wasn't close to Pa or even Grandpa, not like he was. They had a real special closeness, this intangible something. And I guess now when I think back to it, I'm a little bit jealous. I kind of wish I had a little bit of what they had. I guess I missed out on a whole world that I just wasn't willing to be part of.
I can believe this. A language gives men and women a common identity. It makes a bond and even shapes who they are.
Oui, la langue, c'est l'expression de l'âme.
Marie says language expresses your soul.
Yeah, I can see that. Joe and the grandpa, they carry that Irish culture in them, through the language. But it's sad to say they're the last of what's left. And you know what? Maybe that's just, in the end, a good thing. Too many languages, too many ideas from too many different people. Sometimes that's just how problems just start.
Mais pourtant, c'est la démocratie.
That's democracy for you.
Oh, no. I am loyal to the crown. Sir John A. Macdonald, he is a hero. You know, the old flag, old leader, old country.
Tell me, Bill, is it really true that old Joe was the last of the Irish speakers in the province?
Some say yes. No, I guess. There's, I guess, a couple of old families up in the Miramichi next to the Cairns River. They spoke some Irish. There's a couple of Donegal guys down in Kings County. They spoke some too, but not the whole language. They weren't like Joe. He was the last one in our family to do it. He was the last one around here. And now he's gone. With him, all that language and all that it carries, it's gone too.
Oh, Bill, je suis très, très désolée. Je me répète, je sais. Je suis désolée de la mort de Joe, oui, et de sa culture aussi.
Maddie says she's sorry for your loss of Joe and his culture. Let me say that we cannot imagine. Oh, maybe as an Acadian, yes, I should say we can imagine this kind of loss.
Yeah, I guess you can. Mind you, though, Joe could speak it, but he couldn't read a word. He couldn't write in Irish either. I don't even think my pa could. Now, occasionally he'd write to his relatives in Ireland, in Gillick in County Cork, up until a couple of years ago, but he could only write them in English. But it kept him in touch. And he felt an odd connection because of the Anglo-English writer, William Butler Yeats. Now, he was from a good Anglican family, too. And we got a book of his old poems here. Some of Joe's favorites. Actually, his real favorite was The Lake of Isle of Innisfree. He knew that poem by heart. And you can find it. You just, look, it's the dirtiest page there. It's just ruined by all of his fingerprints.
Could I read it, Bill?
Of course.
The Lake Isle of Innisfree. I will arise and go now, and go to Innisfree, and a small cabin built there of clay and wattles made. 9 bean rows will I have there, a hive for the honeybee, and live alone in the bee-loud glade. And I shall have some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow, dropping from the vales of the morning to where the cricket sings. These midnights all a glimmer, and noon a purple glow, and evening full of the linnet's wings. I will arise and go now, for always night and day I hear lake water lapping with low sounds by the shore, while I stand on the roadway or on the pavement's gray. I hear it in the deep heart's roar.
Je ne comprends pas tout, Marie. Blanche, pardon. Je ne comprends pas tout, Blanche, mais quelle belle langue, harmonieuse et musicale.
Mary says that it's...
You know, for the first time tonight, I think I understood you.
Everybody come along, everybody sing a song, lighten up and carry on. It's a brand new day. Everybody come along, everybody sing a song, lighten up and carry on. It's a brand new day. It's a brand new day.
They'll find them.
Give this little one a bed.
There are no more
I don't know how long she's been down.
We'll find you someplace.
And Laura wouldn't have died if this community could agree on a real hospital. If we can forget our differences.
Я можу дозволити $50.
Ми будували найліпшу стайну.
То ми збудуємо шпиталь? Ну, так. Добре.
Our community did get together and build a real hospital with free services. Maybe we started something.
It was my daughter's birthday. She was blowing out the candles on her cake when we heard coming from the TV. So we stopped and listened, and it helped us get to safety. That's why when I think of my daughter's birthday, because now she gets to keep having them.
I'm in trouble and they're building an inukshuk. They come across them miles from anywhere. Maybe now I'll find out what they're for.
She said, now the people will know we were here. Now the people will know we were here.
Hey, did you know?
More than 4,500 Canadians are waiting for an organ transplant right now.
Right now. 4,500.
People are dying.
And you could save a life. 90% of Canadians say they're willing to donate their organs.
But only a few are registered.
So what are you waiting for? Get registered.
It's easy and it's free.
Leave a legacy. Be a hero.
Save a life.
Find out how to register today. Go to kidney.ca.
That poem puts me in a relaxed, safe place. A quiet place where I feel secure. It has rhythm. It's musical. Like Maddie says, moving like the waves on the lake. It reminds me that we're lucky to live in our villages and countrysides near the water, not the grey pavements of a big city.
You know, it's true. Hey, Joe talked about it all the time. I hear the Deep Hearts Chord. Well, he'd ask me, do you listen here on Deep Hearts Chord? I'd laugh. But it always got me thinking. You read the poem. You might not know, but Innisfree, it is a real place. In County Sligo in Ireland. But Joe said that this place was our new Innisfree. This bay. And so instead of hearing the words, I hear the lapping water with low sounds by the shore, Joe would just laugh and say, I hear the high tide with crashing sounds by the shore. It was the beauty of our bay. It is. It's got so many personalities. And on days, gentle lapping sounds, the kind that you build a campfire next to in August. And sometimes it's like a flat sheet, and other times it's a horrible tempest. And to think, we've only been here for 100 years. Enjoying the bounty of our bay, the herring, the salmon, the lobster. You know, they almost called New Brunswick New Ireland. Well, Joe told me that. But he never explained why they just didn't go through with it, why they changed it to this.
Yes, Bill. You're talking about a deep sense of place, home, where we feel most rooted, just like turnips in the field. That's exactly how we feel about our bay, coast, forests, rivers, and even our peat bogs. We still call it Acadie.
Oh, I know. I went to the States. I cut timber in Maine for a while when I was younger. But I got brought home. I was lured back by Pa when he was sick. I mean, I should have stayed. The money was great. But when I got back, there was that smell. When the salt water hits those evergreens, it's something that you could never even buy. Not even for $1 million.
I too went to the States, to Boston. Came back for the same reasons. I listened to my Deep Hearts Chord, and what I heard was, come back. Bill, do you listen to your Deep Hearts Chord? I would love to know when you do this, what do you hear? Perhaps there are personal values or traditions or beliefs like what the poet was listening for.
Yeah. In the Deep Hearts Chord. That's the same kind of question Joe would have asked. But I don't want to talk about it. Maybe later on tonight after another glass, fine. That's it for now. But you do know, before we put this evening away, Patrick.
Yeah.
Would you mind reading another selection?
I'd love to.
It was called The Ballad of Father Gilligan.
I would love to read that. The Ballad of Father Gilligan. The old priest, Peter Gilligan, was weary night and day, for half his flock were in the beds, or under green sods lay. Once, while he nodded on a chair, at the moth hour of eve, another poor man sent for him, and he began to grieve. I have no rest, nor joy, nor peace, for people die and die. And after cried he, God forgive, my body spake, not I. He knelt, and leaning on the chair, he prayed and fell asleep. And the moth hour went from the fields, and stars began to peep. They slowly into millions grew, and leaves shook in the wind. And God covered the world with shade, and whispered to man king. Upon the time of sparrow chirp, when the moths came once more, the old priest Peter Gilligan stood upright on the floor. Mavrone, Mavrone, the man has died while I slept on the chair. He roused his horse out of its sleep and rode with little care. He rode now as he need rode, by rocky lane and fen. The sick man's wife opened the door. Father, you come again? And is the poor man dead? He cried. He died an hour ago. The old priest Peter Gilligan in grief swayed to and fro. When you were gone, he turned and died as merry as a bird. The old priest Peter Gilligan, he knelt him at that word. He who hath made the night of stars for souls who tire and bleed, sent one of his great angels down to help me in my need. He who is wrapped in purple robes with planets in his care, had pity on the least of things, asleep upon a chair.
Thank you, Patrick. Well done.
You know, God showed his power and love for the busy old priest, Father Gilligan. God really allowed that poor, tired priest to get some sleep, and then he sent an angel in the shape of Father Gilligan to comfort the dying parishioner. Beautiful. You know, this is probably based on an Irish legend. I was listening to you when you were talking earlier. I was not too far away. And you were mentioning that Joe here was probably the last Irish speaker. And it made me feel sad. I felt bad because, really, I was never interested myself in learning the Irish language, even though both my parents spoke it. And, even my grandparents spoke to themselves a lot of the time in Irish. So you kind of can see how in my family it gradually withered away. A story I always heard in our house was how children in Ireland had to wear a tally stick. It was a small piece of wood, and at the end, one end, it had a hole, and they would have put a cord through the hole and tie it around the children's neck. Every time a child was heard to speak Irish, the teacher would cut a little notch in that piece of wood, in the tally stick. At the end of the day, the notches were counted, and the child was beaten. The more notches, the more severe the punishment.
Yeah, I heard about it. And the thing is, it was happening in Ireland with native speakers. Joe talked about it. He said it wasn't fair. You're in Ireland, and you're not even free to make your own decisions.
I know a few words. I picked up a few, like gob, which is Irish for mouth, and noggin, which is Irish for head. I used to hear, wipe your gob, your breakfast is on your face. And another thing I heard was, think, boy, use your noggin. Now, speaking of these Irish words, did you know that my real name originally was Padre, Irish for Patrick? I was named after my grandfather. My parents were told by Father Murphy, he was the priest at the time, at my baptism that maybe you should change the name Padre. Call the boy Patrick, he said. He convinced them that Padre was old-fashioned and might hold me back in jobs in the future. I feel awful now because here old Joe is gone with the last of the language. What will become of us as a people? What's the future? Maybe the university in Memramcook or the college in Chatham. Maybe they'll teach the Irish language, start courses in Irish history. But I really don't think so.
Well, convent schools and classical colleges and their dedicated teachers maintain the French language here. We were told that for the Irish bishops in the Maritimes, the Irish language was not a priority in Canada with other competing denominations. That was their concern.
You know, I don't ever remember anybody asking me or my family what we thought of that.
No. Blanche, Matthew, Patrick. I think it's time for me to take a moment and talk about Joe's deep heart's core truth. You know, he believed in an independent Irish republic, one not run by the crown or by the papacy. In my family, there's always been a huge Republican sentiment, equal, of course, to our Orange Lodge Unionist sympathies. Joe, Grandpa, even Great-Grandpa, they're all Republicans. Actually, you know what? Great-Grandpa actually fought in the 1798 rebellion in Ireland.
Saul, toast is burning.
Toast is not.
Every time she has a seizure, she smells something burning. Now, if we can provoke that smell by probing the surface of the brain, we'll find the source of the seizures. Mrs. Gold, do you feel anything?
I can see the most wonderful lights.
And now what do you feel?
Did you pour cold water on my hand, Dr. Penfield?
Now what? What is it, Mrs. Gold?
Burnt toast. Dr. Penfield, I can smell burnt toast. Dr. Wilder Penfield. He cured my seizures and hundreds more. They say he drew the roadmap of the human brain. We just called him the greatest Canadian alive.
Do you have something to share? Let everyone know about your next meeting, your need for volunteers, or your fundraising event on the Rogers TV Community Billboard. Send us your words and we'll bring them to life on Rogers TV and rogerstv.com. When it's time to spread the word, go to rogerstv.com to add your announcement to the Community Billboard.
Your visit isn't really necessary.
I'll judge for myself.
I know you're an MP, Miss McPhail, but a woman has never...
I am not leaving till I do. How can such a society be called civilized? If those appalling conditions don't change, that prison will explode!
Perhaps our lone lady member is too fragile to know what is normal in a prison.
Is this normal?
Her courage would lead to the overhaul of the entire Canadian penal system. Agnes McPhail, Canada's first woman MP.
Everybody come along, everybody sing a song, lighten up and carry on. It's a brand new day. Everybody come along, everybody sing a song, lighten up and carry on. It's
You know, I might have guessed Joe was a bit of a rebel. Really.
Yes, that doesn't surprise me about Joe. Actually, Bill, I thought you would be right there with him.
No, I'm attached to our traditions. I believe that it's the British monarchy that will always and will continue to serve us well. So you know what? I'm loyal. And it makes sense. I mean, everyone has a place. Equal rights for all, special privilege for no one.
Everyone has their place? You mean some should be on top, but others below? I'm not sure that's such a good idea. Maybe you really mean that all men and women are born and remain free and equal in rights. That is their place.
Yeah, I guess. Yes, of course. But I'm a constitutional monarchist. I am a supporter. I'm a Democrat who likes their traditions. I do believe, as Joe did, that there's a connection between individual rights and a healthy society. And, you know, I think that's my deep heart's core. It's my belief that it's the extreme poverty that takes the rights away from the individual. It's that horrible poverty that makes a government not worthy. And God knows we've got enough extreme poverty around here. You'd have to be blind not to see it. It's not right.
You know, I can see that Joe might have had more of an influence on you than you even realize. You mentioned your great-grandfather was a rebel in Ireland.
Yeah. Our great-grandfather, Joe, yeah, he fought with the Society of United Irishmen. He was a croppie. They called the rebels croppies because they had cropped hair. It was the style that they shared with the French revolutionaries and the Irish rebels. They cropped their hair. They shared a revolutionary spirit and a hairstyle. But you know what? All they had were pikes. Basic weapons. Can you imagine lining up against the British Army with only spears in your whole battle to end continental rule?
The 1798 rebellion was a total disaster. But it went on to serve as an inspiration for the 1916 Easter Rising. And that resulted in Irish independence and the establishment of the Irish Free State. So it wasn't a total loss.
No. And my dad and Joe, they talked about that all the time. How the United Irishmen tried to unite the Protestants and the Catholics, even the dissenters. Now they tried under really heavy Protestant leadership. One fellow of Wolfe Tone. He himself, he was French. He was a Huguenot by ancestry. He was a Presbyterian also. And, you know, the minority church in the area, so of course the authorities and the government looked down on him.
You're right, neighbor. Tone is a real Irish hero.
Yeah.
You know, my people hail from County Kildare, not far from the birthplace of Tone. And he's honored every year there, along with other Presbyterian Irish heroes. Tom Russell, Henry Joey McCracken. Heroes all. They loved their country so much they were willing to give up their lives for it. That was their vision of Ireland in their deep heart's core.
Yeah. Yeah, Tone's rebels needed the military help, especially when they wanted to expel the British from Ireland. So what did they do? They went to France. They asked for help. And the French landed. Came to support them. I think they landed in Bantry Bay.
Bantry Bay, yep.
Yeah. Well, of course, it ended in a rout. When the rebels were outnumbered, they were poorly coordinated, and that was even with some French support.
You're right again. You're right again, Bill. The French were among the first to help the new American Republic, the United States of America. The French were the first European allies for the emerging Irish Republic. That's history. You can't argue with it.
No, you can't. And, I mean, the French were full of Republican spirit anyway. Oh, God forbid. I mean, they had just taken care of King Louis XVI. Downsized him by about 6 inches, they did. You know, the guillotine is a useful tool. It's kind of a one-size-fits-all sort of gadget. But, you know, those were the times.
We have to remember that in 1795, the American Revolution had just happened a few years earlier. And the French Revolution wasn't hardly over yet. I mean, this was the time. And here we are today at Joe's wake. And there is the rebel harp flag, the golden harp flag draped across his casket. And the orange banner. You're not going to see this in every orange man's house.
Well, no, but there's a reason. Joe asked for two things at his funeral. He wanted us at the end of the service to all gather together and sing "O Canada." And he wanted the rebel flag, 1798, displayed here on his casket. You know, Joe reminded me that a true rebel society was something that included everyone. And he felt that that's the way that the independent Irish Republic worked. Joe believed that the common person really should have the right to bring good government. It wasn't necessarily the job of aristocracy. And that was his deep heart's core. And that's why he wanted the old harp flag, and that's why later we're going to sing "O Canada." You know, I suggested to him that we put an orange banner on the casket. No, he said, no, if you want to do that, we need to compromise. You've got to put a white one on there too. And so that's what we did. He planned this a long time ago. You know, when you stand back and you look at it now, you've got the orange, you've got the green, you've got the white.
So the green for nationalism, the orange for unionism, and the white for the peace between them.
It's like the new Irish flag.
You worked it out in your family. Now let's see if they'll be able to work it out in the old country.
Sometimes it's hard to say goodbye to an old friend. But when you're saying farewell to your vehicle, Kidney Car makes it fast and easy. Just call or visit our website. We'll take any vehicle in any condition and give you a tax receipt for a minimum of $300. No headaches and no towing charges. It's the one-stop solution for getting rid of your unwanted vehicle in just a few short minutes. When your vehicles reach the end of the road, call us toll-free or visit kidneycar.ca.
The world's most famous Canadian, Grey Owl, just back from a triumphant British tour, is to be a reluctant guest at a gathering of First Nations.
Archie, you may not realize this, but right now you are the most famous Red Indian in the world. These are your people. You have to be there. Come on, Harold. Let's go.
Sure, I'm sure. His name is Archie Bellini, and if he's a Red Indian, I'm the king of China.
It is an honor to meet the man called Grey Owl, who has brought much respect for our people.
Imposter, rascal, dreamer, and yet the Englishman who called himself Grey Owl awoke the whole world to our vanishing wilderness.
My brother says, men become what they dream. You have dreamed well.
Do you have something to share? Let everyone know about your next meeting, your need for volunteers, or your fundraising event on the Rogers TV Community Billboard. Send us your words and we'll bring them to life on Rogers TV and rogerstv.com. When it's time to spread the word, go to rogerstv.com to add your announcement to the Community Billboard.
Angus should never have agreed to this last race. She's too old.
Ready?
The Cubs are halyard, Mac! Get to it, Mac!
Here's there's some kind of difficulty.
The console's foul!
Just once more, old girl. And you can rest.
Her last race and still undefeated, the Blue Nose out of Lunenburg, Nova Scotia was fastest in the world for almost 20 years.
Blanche and Marie, you might be interested in this, in knowing that the new Irish tricolour flag for the Republic of Ireland was originally, in an original form, presented as a gift about 75 years ago by a small group of women from France, sympathetic to the rebel cause, the Irish rebel cause.
Je trouve ça intéressant. Très intéressant. Le tricolore can come in different colors.
Yeah. With the new partitions in Ireland dividing the North and the new Free State, and with a minority in each will now have equal rights. It's like the Orange motto says. Equal rights to all, special privileges to no one.
Equal rights? You can't argue with that. If it really means equal opportunity for everyone. Sometimes we might want to have a little chat about what is really privileged.
Yeah. Poor Joe. You know what? The one thing he's not going to do is be able to vote for his PJ Vino.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. He's going to miss the election by a couple of days. You know, he had no problem voting for some Frenchman. No. He was going to vote. And Vino's going to need every last one, and it's too bad he can't get Joe's. From what I hear, even the KKK is going against him. Joe liked Vino. You know, he said he was a true reformer. He was a smart man. Joe hated the conflicts, the problems in the old country. There was no need for that here. Joe even appreciated the new area. I mean, new families coming in, the Jewish families. There was the Italians who were coming in to work at the mill. And there's a Lebanese family. They're moving in down on Main Street. Now, all of these different people add different ways of thinking. They add choice to our community. They give us new things to buy. You know what? I think they make our town look just a little bit better.
What did he like so much about Vigneault?
Well, first off, he liked the highway system. He liked that he helped with the roads up here, especially in the north. But his true passion was the support for technical schools. Vino also, he's looking for compensation for injured workers. He's even giving away free textbooks to the schools. And gosh knows we need them, especially on the coast. You know, Joe convinced me that was important. And one other thing, he wanted to give pensions to mothers. He convinced me for my support. And I'm going to offer. Giving help to students, helping injured workers, helping mothers, that's important. And you know, I think that gets down to my deep heart's core too. You know what, though? Still loyal to the crown. God save the king.
Bill, tu as subi l'influence du poète William Butler Yeats et tu as écouté le Deep Heart's Core. Toutes mes félicitations.
Ça, je le comprends.
Oui.
Merci, Marie.
Aaron go bragh! Ireland forever!
Canada go bragh! Canada forever!
Aaron go bragh! Et le Canada pour toujours. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time to thank you now for coming to see off my brother this evening. And so, as part of his final last request, I ask that you all stand and join us in One last rendition of O Canada for my poor brother. O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot, in all our sons command, with cross and cross they say, c'est porter la croix, ton histoire est une épopée, reste brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. To everyone here, Blanche, Marie, Patrick, friends from far and wide, even from Nova Scotia. Thank you for coming. And let's all get a brand new full glass.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
When you become a Rogers volunteer, it's always an opportunity for everybody to come together and try different things that they've never been able to do before.
What I've learned here is different skills that I thought I would never even be interested in learning.
By being here at Rogers, I can learn all these different things that will help me be stronger.
Working here as a volunteer is a good way to get to know your community. It's a good way to learn how to work as a part of a team.
They're people from our community, so they know and they have a heart for our community to step outside of our comfort zone and do more.
Don't be afraid, because this is where you're going to gain the most valuable experience that you can use in your future.
I encourage everybody to be a volunteer at Rogers TV because not only do you grow professionally, you grow personally as well.
This is Rogers TV, New Brunswick.
He has my eyes. He has his mother's cheekbones. He has her competitive nature. He has my weird sense of humor. He has her love of reading. He has my oxycodone.
Some things should never be passed down. Lock up or turn in your prescription drugs. Learn more at secureyourmeds.ca. A message from Drug Free Kids Canada.
Are you the type who would keep going or stop? It's not easy to stop when you have an addiction. Legalizing cannabis won't stop addiction. It trivializes its consumption. Let's be vigilant. If you need help, visit portage.ca.